Hit it, boys, hit it.
Born September the 28th, 1922, in Highmore, South Dakota.
July 24, 1924. Born in Nebraska City, Nebraska.
Nebraska City, Nebraska, the 25th of September, 1925.
Yeah, born 18th of April, 1927 in Nebraska City.
I'm the youngest of the family, Sharon, and I'm born July 10th, 1939.
Well, let's see, Dawn and I would be 2 years difference, Floyd 3, and Val 4. I'm correct now. Now going back the other way, Gene is what, we're 8 years difference, aren't we? Gene? So no. 5 years difference. And how are we between Sharon and I? How many? 17? 10? 12? I don't remember.
He was ready to be commissioned into the service, and that was the Germans, the Prussian army, because Prussia had come over and taken over Poland at that time. And so he was trying to get out of the country. He did not want to do that service. So he happened to be down near the docks or something one evening, and this Polish serviceman got into a really bad fight. And there were knives and everything used, and this Kussman fellow was killed. And so our grandfather was very quick thinking, I guess, on his feet, and while they went to get the police and everything, he switched papers with this dead officer, and that's how he was able to leave the country and come over here. He was very, Mother said all of his life he wouldn't talk about his background and everything, because I think he felt that somehow he would be found out or something.
Highmore, South Dakota. That's where my dad was born. Then Mom was up there too quite a while.
They had a lot of cattle and horses and all that. And then these Indians would live around there. They come to the door quite often. And Mother used to tell the story about one time they were baking raisin cookies and or raisin cake. I don't know which it was, but anyway, the Indians took that and they were sitting there, and while they were watching the Indians eat this, and they'd take the raisins and they'd throw the raisin out. And so Mother, she said, well, no good. And the Indians said, me no eat bugs. The war broke out, the First World War. They had to give up that ranch out there, and they had to get rid of their livestock. They had no men to run the ranch anymore. So they moved down to Nebraska City. Now Grandma Kussman had family here too, and out at the cemetery there's her sister and her parents are buried there too, in the old section of the cemetery. Her grandmother, Julia, Cody, had gone to South Dakota to help, was it Paul Kussman that was up there at the time? And his wife, Gertrude, was having a baby. And so Mother went up there to help with the birthing of this child and everything. And our dad, Thomas Cody's family, lived next door. Well, Mother went over there one day to borrow a cup of sugar or something, and she just burst in, and here's our dad was shaving. And that's how they met. And then, you know, they began to date and everything, and then when she came back to Nebraska City, why then he followed her back down here. And Louise and Julia were the belles of Nebraska City. They were considered the beauties of the town. And then when the Cody Brothers band, Mother and her sister did play the organ and the piano. And so our mother used to do the courting at the these big barn dances, and our dad played the violin. Now, I don't know what his brothers, what instruments they all played, but Mother said that they had the most fun, and that was the best time of their lives when they were out at these big barn dances. Mother had met another fellow, and she had asked permission from her parents to marry him. And her parents said, no, he's no good, and he turned out to be a real estate investor who moved to California and became a multi-million-dollar real estate broker. But her parents wouldn't allow her to marry him, so when she met our dad, she decided no permission needed. She was, I think our mom was, I have the marriage certificate, I think she was 22 or 23 when she married.
Dad was in France where he was in. He was an ambulance driver. World War I.
He was from a large family. There were like 12 children, I believe.
When I was working for the Corps, I had occasion to go up in that locale. And I did go into Highmore a couple of times and visit my dad's grave.
Valerie. She is our oldest sister, and of course we all look up to her.
Well, she was always the oldest, and I guess in charge.
Floyd, I think he lived a very interesting life.
And Don, he was more talkative and happy, upbeat.
I was kind of in between, and I think I was kind of the loner.
Jean is kind of quiet, kind of reserved.
And then we had Sharon.
Mother worked, so I took care of her as much as I could. I was going to school, and because I was 17, almost 17 when she was born.
She went to the Tasty Tavern. That's a restaurant just across the street from us. So I mentioned Central Avenue, you know.
Tasty Tavern, yeah, that was the name of it.
We lived on Central Avenue and lived right across the street almost from the restaurant. And I could go over there and go in the back door, and Mom's in the kitchen cooking and baking.
Mother was pretty strict with us kids, really, in a way. She was a fantastic mother, but she was strict with the boys and us kids, which was good for us.
Well, we did get away with a lot of stuff. I mean, we didn't do anything on the out bad or anything like that, but she didn't, she just gave us rules to live by, and we all lived by them pretty well.
Well, Floyd used to, I don't say beat up on me, but he never wanted me to be around him because I was a girl and I was in the way. And he and Donald got in cahoots, and it was worse yet.
I used to get disgusted at my two older brothers. And maybe I was wrong on this too, or maybe I thought I was being picked on or what. But it seems like when we lived on 4th Corso, wood to be chopped, I had to chop the wood all the time. Maybe I'm wrong on this. And it seemed like I always had to carry the wood in. And up on Central Avenue too, wash days, you used to have to empty the wash tubs, carried up a gallon pails. I had to do that. And cleaning out the furnace, all the old coal burns, I seemed like I had to do that too.
When I was, I don't know, 13, 14, I still remember the age exactly. I had to go live with grandmother because they didn't want her to live alone. And so Grandma had her own way of doing things. And a girl at that age is a little impressive, you know, everything is, or yes, yes. And Grandma had it. I come home from school, I had to sit down and do my homework. Then Grandma would get the food. Then I had to do the dishes. And then I had to, Grandma read the Bible to me every night, and then I had to get ready for bed. That was the routine every day.
Well, we had one there on 4th Corso. We had an outhouse. We had no running water in the house either. We had a pump outside. We had to pump our water, and we had an outhouse. It's where you can see where the curve is on 4th Corso. Where it was kind of a, I don't think, it was a glorified barn's what it was.
At that time, the big steak trucks would come over from Iowa across the bridge, and they were bringing this sweet corn to the Odo Foods packing company. And when they got to this curve, they'd have to really slow down, real slow to make that curve. The trucks didn't drop any corn through those stakes in the bed, why I'd run out and pick them up. During the corn season, why we had a lot of corn to eat.
Well, Gene and I, you know, were the closest together. And he used to really, he used to give me nice presents, and he was a lot of fun, except when I wanted to tag along with him, and he didn't want me along.
We were a fast-moving family. It seemed like everybody had something going all the time. Maybe it's because of the economy at the time, or everybody was working or doing something.
I worked at Edmondson's drugstore. I also ran motion pictures, projectionist in local theaters.
Used to walk home at night from the golf course. It was quite a long walk, and I'd take a shortcut through the Morton Orchard. And I'd come home with a shirt full of apples.
Well, that was okay, wasn't it?
Well, I told him I'd pick them up off the ground.
The old golf course at one of the